So I just attempted to post the last video that I made, and I was logged out, most likely by law enforcement downstairs in Arbor Police Department, of my Facebook account. So and of course, when I first logged on 10 minutes ago, the internet here, the Washtenaw County internet for this shelter, the Delana Shelter Center of the Washtenaw County, what is it called? Shelter Association of Washtenaw County. It does this kind of exploit hack on my use of the internet. So, I had made some promises to people that I was going to go over my account and take down some material that might be considered offensive, or as a kind of amnesty or something. But this isn't amnesty. This is hijacking, and I don't condone it. So, jeez. It's too bad, because I'm a man of my word, but law enforcement in this town is very, very corrupt, very dishonest, very unlawful, sadistically terrorizing, especially with electromagnetic instruments and microwave radiation, and using drug addicts and homeless people and exploiting them to stalk and harm targeted individuals that they don't like, that pose a legal threat to them. So, all of which I've experienced for the past 3 years here. It's terrible. It's not a safe place to live. It's not a place I would want to raise a child. It's not a place I want to go to school. It's not a nice place. And there's a significant Jewish community here that specialize in this type of homeland terrorism. It seems to be associated with their cultural, the community culture. And I've seen material on YouTube that confirms everything that I've experienced here in synagogues and Jewish restaurants, and the police, and we have a Jewish mayor and a Jewish what do you call it? Board of commissioners or whatever. It looks like a nice place, nice appearances. It's a very dangerous, toxic, radioactive place that unconsented human virus and radiation experimentation takes place, especially on the homeless, in conjunction with the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor. So, believe it or not, I've got 3 years of videos on a number of accounts with my name. Look them up. All right, now, jeez. Oh, that's what I was doing. And they don't even care at this point, because there's so much proof. They're just going to do whatever they can to get away with whatever they can. So, they figured out an exploit, whereas, a lot of the videos that I upload are large, and so somehow the app cache gets full, and I can't dump it unless I completely dump all the data in the app, and then that logs me out of the app. But I set it up to where the app remembers my password, and it'll let me log back in without putting my password in if the login process isn't obstructed. But a number of times today it was, and then they take that opportunity somehow to get into my account at the same time that I log back into it. So, and that's what they did today. And as you can see there, they're trying to stop that video from uploading. They probably did. So it's just ridiculous because, eventually, it's just time consuming and frustrating and aggravating. But, I do get it all up. There's no way that I went through 3 years of torture to be bullied by them and to have them dictate to me what I can post on my Facebook and whatnot. So it ain't gonna happen. They only make it worse because I make videos like this to explain the circumstance, and it makes them look worse and makes the university looks worse, and I'll get it up anyway. So I back up to Google Photos, and I back up to my SD cards. But they're even so unscrupulous that when I go to court and I'm forced to put my cell phones and SD cards in the public storage, they'll go in there on the camera. They've done it more than once. They'll put toxic substances on my phone that are probably radioactive or in some other way harmful to me, and then people in the community will know about it, and then they'll be warning me and hinting to me, and then I'll experience strange heat circumstances, and then my phone won't work, and then I'll experience burns and all kinds of shit. I'm sorry to swear, but it's amazing what you wouldn't imagine police doing what they do here in Ann Arbor, Michigan. It's terrible, but too unfair. None of them has ever beat me. None of them have never physically harmed me. But I'm also cooperative, and I understand their authority, given the dialogue, that I have with them. So, but that's no excuse, for the corruption and the criminal conduct, which supersedes Michigan state law and is well established in federal law. So, and then they've set me up a number of times. They've had someone beat me up and knock my phone out of my hand and smash it on the ground, and threaten to kill me while they were doing this. And then they set some other guy up recently to hit me with a smartphone. And then when I protected myself and fought him off, they responded, and then they sided with him, and then I ended up going to jail for 3 months and 3 weeks. It's the reason why I have to go to court now for this. I made posts about that, and it's all used as this big elaborate stunt to get me to take down all of the evidence of harm that I've experienced over the past 3 years. They hate being recorded. And you have to ask yourself why. If they're such model officers of the law. And judges are in on this. I've made appeals to judges about this problem, and instead of helping me, Um, they had, well, instead of helping me, my public defenders who were supposed to protect me and present my concerns and circumstances during the trial process to the court, to protect me during the trial process. Instead, they've had me evaluated for incompetency to stand trial because they thought that I was irrational or perhaps was of some serious mental illness. And then ultimately I was sent to a state hospital, and they found that I was competent and that I did not have a serious mental illness. But I waited in jail for 3 months before a bed became open, and then I was in the hospital for 3 weeks. And so even though I'm certified as not being, suffering of a significant mental illness, they're using that, or they're running with that, to challenge every complaint that I make against them. They've actually told me a number of times that they weren't going to take my complaint because they didn't believe it, or they didn't see it my way or whatever. And I'm sure that's unlawful. I should have recorded it, but believe me or not, people are always going to side with the police no matter what, because they've just had a favorable experience with them, and they want to have faith and trust in them, and I understand that. I do too, but it's absolutely not going to be the case with the officers that I've had run in with the law with, and the complaints that I filed and had investigated, only one came back holding the officer responsible. All the other ones, of course, they didn't find the officer responsible for anything. So, good luck with that, right? It does not work to have an autonomous police department investigate its own misconduct. It does not work. I'm here to tell you, first and foremost, firsthand experience. So, okay. So I'll get through this. I'll figure all this out. Sorry, to all the students at University of Michigan that have been misled to contribute to this crime under whatever misimpression you were given by the police. I do not have a criminal record. I never have. I'm not violent. I don't know what to tell you. Do your homework. I don't care who tells you. There's a number of sources you can go to check if somebody is a credible threat to the community or has a criminal record. So, any of you that assisted law enforcement in hacking my devices or stalking me or harming me, you have no excuse. You could have come to know better. So, and there's never an excuse for harming anyone or violating anyone's right, because for any reason, under any influence. So you're just wrong. And some stuff, I want to forgive, but the rest, you'll make the mistake again if there isn't a documented history of this to stand the test of time. So that's why I work so hard to preserve all of this as evidence. So anyway, that's that.